and she's a fighter. Oh my God. By the way, what's the beef? What's the beef? I hear that she made some comments, and because of that, they might leave her on the show. I don't
It,
even know what she's.
there are two elements to this. It's not just two sides. There are two elements.
Okay.
Basically, earlier last year, when a lot of people were jumping on social media and not just talking about the pandemic, but talking about various groups' rights and what have you, Gina made some statements about people that were transgendered that really upset folk because basically she said that um, for transgendered individuals, for things like restrooms and what have you, they need their own place to go. And it was that kind of thing. It was sort of like, don't have transgender people going into men's rooms, don't have them going into ladies' rooms and that kind of thing. They need their own spot because she also felt, well, if they've got their own area, they don't have to worry about anybody belittling them, teasing them, or what have you. They're doing their own thing. No pun intended, but a number of comments that she made were along that line. Okay, and basically, a lot of people that were part of the whole Me Too thing and the transgender thing got upset with the woman because she spoke up. The,
Oh, thank God.
the truth
I mean,
is,
thank God that. I'm sorry. I'll explain my thank God later. Go ahead.
I agree with her. I really do think that they should have their own area when it comes down to public restrooms and what have you.
I agree
We've
as well.
already had we've already had situations where somebody, and it's not right at all. Nobody should be beaten or hurt or belittled or discriminated against in any way and what have you. Not for anything. Okay. But they've already had situations where somebody who is transgendered or what have you, and they've gone into public places and people have hurt them. And I mean, this may upset some folks that are part of the dynamic duo, but I do agree with her. And there were a number of other statements that she made that were along the same line. Okay. Um, the thing is, people immediately started to attack her. And because they did, uh, they started screaming out the order of get rid of Gina, get rid of Gina. Cara Dune's got to go. She's got to go. You got to get rid of the character. But the problem is, Big Daddy George is sitting on the mountaintop and kind of going, I'm liking The Mandalorian. And I may not agree with everything the woman is saying, but no, I'm not going to fire her.
Fascinating. Fascinating. Well, for me, if I can jump in, my thank God was thank God that's what it is. And I could still be in love with Gina Carano because I would not have been if she had made a terrible statement. And I don't know what else she said. I don't know the context in which she said it. So I may change my mind if I discover that she's some crazy person. But based on what you're telling me, the statement that transgendered people should have a bathroom of their own. First of all, I do also agree with that. But even if she's wrong, even if we're wrong in that opinion, it's not an opinion that deserves to be crucified over. It's not. It's not a hurtful, angry, discriminatory type of opinion. It's just an opinion that respects both sides,
Right.
and we should be careful. You see, the whole cancel culture situation is a very complicated discussion. It's a very, very complicated discussion. And there are certain instances, we tend to treat the world like it's a black and white issue, right? And we've got these anti-cancel culture people who are like, oh, social justice warriors, we hate them. And anything they say and do, we disagree with. And then you've got the social justice warriors who, oh, yeah, we want everything to be the way we want it to be, or else. For me, the world is made up of gray rather than black and white. And it's a spectrum. It's wrong to say cancel culture is wrong. And what's ironic about that is that the people who are anti-cancel culture, their process is to cancel the people that they hate. They're coming after the people that they hate, and they want to get rid of. Well, that's cancel culture. So there are times and there are instances in which someone may say or express a thought or a feeling or opinion that you find so egregious, so hurtful, so discriminatory, so prejudicial that that person should not be in a prominent role. That's my opinion. If and I would challenge anyone to disagree with me. Someone may feel that, let's say you're a pro-Trumper type of person, and you don't want to cancel culture someone because they said something quote unquote racist, because you have that affinity. Well, would you support if you find out that, performer X, actor X, celebrity X is an ISIS supporter? Do you think he should still be on CNN? If you find out that, Wolf Blitzer is an Al Qaeda sympathizer, and so on and so forth.
Right.
And so, cancel culture is not to be dismissed, outright. Having said that, the other side is that, like anything else, like any power, it sometimes goes too far. And sometimes the people that are demanding consideration stop consideration themselves. It's both ways, right? The people that want cancel culture use cancel culture to get rid of cancel culture, and the people that are demanding diversity and open opinions are dismissive of people of other opinions, and that's wrong too. I think the line should be drawn on a case-by-case basis, based on the intent and based on the act. Now, if we look at Gina Carano and she says, I think transgender people should have their own bathrooms, there's a lot of nuances in that statement that have legitimacy. In other words, it does open up an area. I had this discussion with my other brother, not the one that was on the show, once upon a time. Women could feel vulnerable, and they may not want a man to be in a restroom with them. That's a legitimate way to feel, right? And it isn't to say that I think a transgendered woman is a man. It is to say that it opens up the world to some pervert dressing like a woman and saying, hey, I'm transgendered, and coming in there and doing all kinds of peeping Tommy. It opens up that world. And as you said before, it opens up the world of some transgendered man going into a man's bathroom and perhaps being attacked by jerks who discriminate. So it's not a statement of hate, from what I hear, and it's not a statement that deserves to be canceled. And we should be careful when we use that power so that we don't delegitimize our positions. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah, it does. And I mean, believe me, that's not the only thing she said, but because it was about a good 6 months worth of back and forth. A lot of what ended up coming out also was she was getting upset with the way that people were attacking her, so she was firing back on different things, and it wasn't just about the restrooms. There were other statements as well, but that had a lot to do with it. And like I said, a lot of it has simply gotten blown out of hand. In its own way, it's a little bit like what you and I talked about with, okay, if you have a project going on and you need to hire, or you've written a character that happens to be gay, does that mean that you have to hire a gay actor to pull their character off? Now, there are certain aspects to that and certain positives to that that we've stated before that makes sense. There are other things that are sort of like, I'm not so sure, depending upon what has to be done in front of the camera. It's the same thing that I've said to people when I've had friends complain to me, well, no one who's not disabled should ever play a disabled person on camera. I don't agree with that. If you can't act, it doesn't matter whether or not you're in a wheelchair or blind or whatever the case. Just because you get into this business, as far as entertainment and acting and what have, that doesn't mean you're going to be the next coming of Laurence Olivier or Elizabeth Taylor or Catherine Hepburn. It's or Sidney Poitier. It simply means that you've got a SAG card somewhere in your back pocket, but it doesn't mean you can act or direct or write or anything. So this whole attachment thing that the world at large has done. Oh well, we can't have anybody that's not uh, uh, in whatever category you want to put people, because a lot of that, this is exactly what it is. It's you're categorizing people for the sake of Hollywood, and it's getting they're getting carried away with it.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
mean that's my take on it.
No, it's exactly right. It's exactly right. It's that gray area that we talked about, and everything needs to be evaluated based on its own merit. And I don't know what else she may have said, um, but I'm hoping and praying that it's not anything ugly. Uh, if it is, I think she would deserve to go. But if it's not, I think she doesn't deserve to go. And the issue of what's happening, Kevin, is that we've stopped listening to one another.
Mm-hmm.
We really truly have. And we have now put ourselves into such separate camps that even the things that we agree on, we disagree on. It's a fascinating thing. I've watched that happen with Obama so many times. He would say, okay, in the beginning of his presidency, he'd say, let's put aside what we disagree on and let's just agree on the things we agree on. Mm-hmm. And even that doesn't work. As I said earlier, the people who are anti-cancel culture are using cancel culture as their method. So mm-hmm. Let's agree that cancel culture is not necessarily in and of itself a bad thing. The people that are promoting a positive agenda, whether it's racial agenda, whether it's a disabled agenda, whether it's a sexual agenda, whatever the case may be, sometimes we end up hurting ourselves more than helping ourselves. Yep. Because as the example that you gave, if you were to choose a disabled person to portray a character that's disabled and they do a bad job, well, guess what? It reduces the message. It reduces the appeal. Exactly. It reduces, and so you end up hurting yourself. And it's the same thing with every other issue, whether it's a racial issue. Like sometimes they say, well, we can't have a white director directing a black subject. Well, that's not necessarily true. There are nuances, there are sensibilities, but if sometimes a white person can get that nuance better than a bad, minority director, black director. And so we have to be careful in what we ask for. And we have to be careful in our approach because sometimes we end up hurting ourselves. And right now we're in such separate camps that we're just coming at each other with hate. It's kind of like the people who are anti-social justice warrior, for example. They're just canceling everything, right? They just hate, they just cancel. And I have one question for those people. What are you against? Like, what are you against? Right now, DC is making Batman a black man. And I haven't even asked you about this, but I'm willing to bet. I'm willing to bet. You feel the way I do, which is no, right?
It doesn't work.
Huh?
It does not work.
Of course not. Of course not. And it's wrong, right? But the people who are anti-social justice warrior are canceling it all out. So we can agree that in this instance and many other instances, like Captain Marvel, like and so on and so forth, that is the wrong thing to do. We're on the same side. So let me ask you, those people a question. Are you against diversity? Are you against inclusivity? Are you fighting to keep minorities from representation, or are you fighting to keep Batman Batman? We have to be careful how we phrase things, because right now the anger is such that you guys are coming off like, I don't want any minorities to be presented, because if it is, it's an automatic social justice warrior thing. So you have to make that decision. And if you are not against diversity, if you understand how important it is to be represented, then approach it not with anger when Batman becomes a black man. Approach it with, damn it, I disagree with this particular choice, but let's figure out a way to have that inclusivity in a way that doesn't step on my toes. I'm speaking for them, in a way that respects me too. And let's have that dialogue. But right now we're not having any dialogue, and we're just at each other's throats. And because of that, we're at an impasse. And that's scary, because the only solution to an impasse is war. And that's scary to me.
I agree with you 100%. There's no other way for me to put it. I am all for diversity. I'm all for change and what have you, as long as those changes make sense.
This looks like a job for Superman.
Hey, look! It's Spider-Man!
The dynamic duo return next week. Don't listen.